What you know is connected to who you are. So I think what the author was trying to say was that a lot of us have different perspectives. We all have different worldviews. Um, and chapter one kind of went into how we gain this knowledge. And a lot of our knowledge is based off of what we learn in our families, mainstream media like the television or even TikTok, um, and a lot of personal experience. That's an important one. And if you think about it, if you stop and think about it, this happens all around us every day in everyday life. And the way we choose to make sense of the world, I mean, it's invisible over time. So we don't stop to quickly think or even determine the meaning behind certain facts. Um, and we don't even stop to learn about the information beyond our own common sense. Um, we don't theorize. We don't stop to ask why. We don't stop to ask how, and that's super important. Um, in class, we use the example of Columbus thinking that the earth was flat. Um, and it wasn't until he said that it was round that people believed it was round. I wanted to use my own example of traditional medicine. So for a very long time, um, certain individuals didn't think that traditional medicine was as effective as westernized medicine, or they didn't think that traditional medicine worked at all. Um, and one of the questions that you have to ask is why? Why did they not think that traditional medicine was as effective or even worked? Um, was it because traditional medicine comes from a minority group? My dad, he harvests devil's club where I'm from, and he makes it into a salve, and he uses it for all kinds of things. He uses it for diabetes, he uses it for colds, he even puts it on open wounds, and this is where my knowledge kind of comes from, and this is and it's through my own human relationships. And I think that when the author asks, or I mean, when the author states what you know is connected to who you are, this is exactly what he's talking about. How I wanted to kind of lump question 2 and 3 together because I think that I can answer them both in one question. Is how is what you know connected to your social work practice? And how is what you know connected to your social work practice with Indigenous peoples? So when I think of the profession social work, I think about advocacy, I think about social change, I think about helping people. Um, and when I think of myself as a social worker, I really think of my own social position. I think about my positionality. Um, and I really look at my own theoretical map because, I ask myself, how do those influence my worldviews? Um, and this was a really tough question because I myself am an Indigenous woman. I grew up traditionally on my reserve in a violent home. Um, and my community, Highway 16, the Highway of Tears, runs right through my community. Um, so a lot of our community members, the women there, have gone missing or have been murdered. And I really feel like, in a way, those are my political and social contexts. And that's what creates my own identity. And it's my theoretical map. So in a way, this is the reason why that I gravitate towards wanting to help women, I feel like. Let's take my 2 jobs, for example. I work at a women's shelter, an emergency women's shelter. That's my full-time job. And I also work at a transitional house for women who are fleeing abuse, and needing shelter. So yeah, that's why I feel the need to help women. I feel that is how what I know is connected to my social work practice. I'm sorry, I've done this recording so many times, and I feel blurry in the head now. But thank you for taking the time time to listen, and I can't wait to hear all of your guys' stories.